Hello, thanks so much. Looks like we set up the previous presentation to help me out. At least there was a lot of curiosity. My name is Agostino. I run the ID program, the global partnership team globally, and I'm the lead in Europe. I'm here today to talk to you guys about Game Pass, give you some data that you might find interesting. First of all, I want to give you an overview. I guess all of you understand Game Pass. Anybody who doesn't understand Game Pass, raise your hand now. Okay, maybe I wasted 3-4 slides, but what is Game Pass? So how do we look at Game Pass? We look at Game Pass in 3 ways. One is the value of Game Pass for the gamers, and the value of Game Pass for the developers and the publisher working with us. For the gamers, it's a no-brainer. You have a recurring subscription, you have tons and tons of games across the subscription on Xbox and PC, a great opportunity to always try something new. For the partners, the publishing and development partners, the value is having a long tail for your product, getting exposure to new customers that would not play your games, but not just catalog content. If you follow our announcement for Game Pass, we are launching a lot of what we call day-and-date titles. Titles that we launch on our store and many other stores, and on the same day, they launch in Game Pass. So we are looking at all type of content, from small independent titles to our first-party studios and anything in between. Number 2 is a discovery engine. Really, Game Pass is a discovery engine. It is a curated catalog. There are about 230 games on Xbox Game Pass and about 150, 140 on PC Game Pass. So you're not overwhelmed by content. We curate the content to show different type of genre, different type of experiences. And in a time where people face a challenge of discoverability, Game Pass really offers an opportunity for titles to be discovered by millions of people. But also, we're building a community, and I have a couple of slides to talk about it. The Xbox Game Pass subscribers are some of our key fans. They tend to have a very active play style. They tend to have a network of friends, and they tend to stream, and so effectively help word of mouth your titles that are part of the subscription. So what is the subscription as of today? So you have Xbox Game Pass for console. This is the first one we launched. Then you have Xbox Game Pass on PC. And ultimately, which is the best value offer, you can have Xbox Game Pass on Xbox, on PC, but also the Game with Gold subscription all bundled together. I think the speaker before was talking about how we try to bring all our ecosystem together, and Game Pass Ultimate is a great example of that. With a single subscription, you can play games on Xbox, you can play your games on PC. So that happened at E3 this year. So how has the program evolved over the years? So it started in June 2017 on Xbox. We had about 112 titles. We had a bunch of first-party, third-party titles. We had 30 third-party partners. And it was mostly a catalog play. So titles that were 1 year or older on the platform, a title that sort of exhausted the sales life cycle and were more like in long tail mode. And it worked pretty well. We learned a lot. And in 2018, we sort of accelerated the program. So what we did, we increased the number of titles, but also we introduced first-party titles and third-party titles launching in Xbox Game Pass day and date. So we went from catalog games only to titles that were shipping new in the market and going straight into the Game Pass subscription. And then this year at E3, I guess we boosted the program. And yeah, we increased the number of titles. We increased the number of partners that are part of the program. As you can see, especially in the ID space, most of the new titles coming are actually new, are day-and-date titles. But then we introduced PC SKU, and we introduced Ultimate. So I guess we completed the learning phase, and then we gave a big, big push. So what have we learned so far? I'm going to speak very fast, so you guys can have a few questions, hopefully. So what have we learned? Well, the program is additive and is positively impacting developers. Fair to say, when we launched the subscription service, people were not sure. They wanted to understand more. Is this going to undermine or is going to damage us? It's actually going to grow the ecosystem for all of us. And now, a couple of years on, we know that Game Pass is actually positively impacting the ecosystem and people's business. So some stats. People like stats. Members explore more titles. So members played 40% more games after joining Xbox Game Pass, including games that are not in Game Pass. Because it's a no-brainer. If you have a subscription, you're going to play more games. But actually what we're finding is that people are going out and playing games that are not part of the subscription. I guess when you think the way we use technology, the more engaged we have with a piece of technology, being a console, a PC, a mobile phone, the more we connect and the more we want to use it. Members are willing to invest in their experiences. So what we did, we took sample players, lookalike players that were not members of Game Pass. So effectively, we had the test group, and we looked at their behaviors compared to equivalent players that were part of Game Pass. And the Game Pass subscribers, they were spending more. Again, you have 230, 240 free games. Why would you spend? But actually, the reality, people play the games, they want the DLC, they want to get the game, and we rotate games in and out of Game Pass. So people that really like a game, they want the game and they buy the game. And then if you have consumable, you obviously make sense. I'm playing your game, I didn't pay for your game, but actually I'm spending so many hours on that game, I want to expand my experience. Probably Mike. No More Robots, Mike Rose, they were a partner of ours with their title, Descenders. Descenders launched on Xbox in early access model, and then at 1.0, it went straight into Game Pass. And actually, Mike reported how the unexpected happened, or we hoped it would happen, that he started selling more on Xbox than he was doing before going into Game Pass. So the sales have increased to the point that Mike was saying that we now outsell Steam. Despite the fact that people can access the game for free. So drives discovery of games and genre that gamers would not have otherwise tried. It's a pretty famous rule in in finance. Like, if you need to spend a penny buying something, you might not do it. The first penny is the biggest hurdle, right? The moment you have a subscription, that consideration goes away. You have a pool of content that hopefully we curate well enough to show all sorts of experiences, and you don't have to pay for it to try. So what we learned, that 30% of the players, they try new genre. So Stuart is in the room, so I'm going to drop a data point on Curve Digital. Human Fall Flat, super successful title. He went into Game Pass program, and suddenly 40% of the people that played that game through their subscription, we found out they never played a puzzle game before. So what that is doing, effectively liberating people from the cost consideration and actually go and try something that maybe they would never have tried, and suddenly they might like it. And then when the next title launches in Game Pass or launches on the store, they are comfortable trying puzzle games. And also, 91% of the members, they tell us they played games that they would never have played without the Game Pass subscription. Again, we promote those titles, we announce them, they're all over the dashboard, they are free for you to try. If you have to spend £5 on a game that you never played before, maybe you're not going to do it. But if the latest horror game, just pick a genre, it's in Game Pass, and you don't have to pay for it, I might as well try it. If I don't like it, I'll uninstall it. Strengthen player bases and drives engagement for titles in the catalog. So on average, Xbox Game Pass title sees a 6-time lift in amount of players. Recently, actually, we have started to see a trending towards 8 times. So where you are on that distribution list, depending how big your title is. The bigger your title is before going into Game Pass, the more on the left you're going to be. But for smaller, more niche titles, you could end up on that right side of the niche, which is great. If you have a title, you want people to discover your game, and you launch and you had a mixed response, Game Pass is a great opportunity. Or, quite often today, developers work with us to accelerate the launch of their product. They want to increase discoverability, and Game Pass is really helping that drive the discoverability. If we combine back to the fact that then you might see increased monetization, Game Pass suddenly becomes a great mechanic for you to accelerate the growth of your title. Now, that curve, 33 times, if you're a smaller independent games, very niche, fail to gain traction, you understand it. But what we found that when we included Minecraft Bedrock Edition on the Xbox One, suddenly the user base on Xbox One grew by 20%. So you wouldn't think that you can grow a title as big as Minecraft. Minecraft has over 100 million monthly active users. But on Xbox, when we include it via Game Pass, we increased the player base by 20%. So highly engaged fans help games being discovered. Over the years, there have been a lot of analysis done on what sells, what doesn't sell product, and how to get momentum. And one of the biggest drivers is actually word of mouth. No better validation for a title is one of your friends playing it, talking to you about the title. And all the platforms have different mechanisms to surface this. And what we found that when you look at Xbox Game Pass Ultimate members, which are our most engaged players, they have way more social connection on Xbox, which means that when they are playing your game, when they're sharing screenshots, when they are sharing videos, when achievements pop up and you, as one of their friends, look at your activity feed, you're going to see a lot of activity around that title. So if you're a Game Pass members have not tried the game, you're going to go and try it. If you're not a Game Pass member, but your friend is playing it, is enjoying it, you might go in the store and purchase the title. But that's not just on platform. Xbox Game Pass members, Ultimate members, are more likely to stream on Mixer or other streaming services. They are the most engaged. So it's a great opportunity to have advocates for your product streaming on the various streaming platforms. And ultimately, not everybody is an Xbox customer. Not everybody is a Game Pass customer. So you're going to have people watching those streams. They might be PlayStation customer, PC customer, wherever they are. They will say, well, that looks interesting. Why don't I go and give it a go? So, conclusions. So players are finding new games to play and love. 30% new genre. 91% of the people would not have played that game without a subscription. We are heading to the ecosystem and helping sustainability. That goes from helping you with your long-term monetization, or maybe bringing to market titles that without Game Pass would not have happened. Players are finding the next favorite game. Discoverability is a problem. Game Pass is really helping finding new games to play in a curated catalog. And developers are finding new audiences. As a former game developer, obviously, I love the idea of people playing my game. Obviously, the financial aspect is very, very important. But actually finding an audience for my title, developing a name for my studio, developing a name for my franchise, there are all considerations that come into place. We're still learning, but we're going pretty well. Thank you so much. Any questions? I think we have, we have plenty of time. Hello. Well, that's a question I would ask you. So we make sure that create value for our partners when it comes to the commercial terms of the partnership. So it's a conversation we have one-to-one. But we created a model that makes it extremely viable. And if you look at some of the profiles of the partners that are now coming into Game Pass, I think just seeing the kind of names they are taking part in this program, I think it validates the model. But the whole point is we want to create value when you ship your title. We want to make sure you're looked after. But not just that, we want to make sure that we look after partners in terms of marketing support, long-tail support. So the financial aspect is very, very important on day one. But I think the overall package, and I could do a very deep presentation on the marketing activities we do, but if any of you has an Xbox or a PC, you can see all the activities we do for Game Pass. So it's not just a financial reward of the partnership, it's more the 360 degrees support that we provide to the partners.
Yeah, I don't really see I don't see much of a downside to going on Game Pass. So.
I think less and less. I mean, fair to say when we launched, and we went to day and date, and some people had a question, right? Subscription in the past have been very disruptive. I think as the time goes by and people are seeing the results and we start sharing a bunch of data, I think people are coming on board. We're very excited by the response we're getting from the development and publishing community in general.
Hi. Do you have any insights into user demographics?
The only insight I can probably share at this stage is that Xbox Game Pass members are some of the most engaged Xbox fans that we have. While people could actually say, well, it's a subscription service, it's more for value customers, what we learned over the couple of years is that it's very engaged. It includes everybody on that scale.
It's just interesting. We were listening to the App Annie, and they were saying that Generation X are probably the ones playing the least on mobile, that potentially they're playing services.
Yeah, I would probably need a Game Pass marketing team to contribute to that.
Sorry, do you think you're over-indexed in Europe versus US?
I wouldn't have that data. Be nice, Stuart.
This is one to possibly help the audience, because you're talking about the success of the service and the number of titles that are available, and I'm sure everybody in this room is thinking there's no reason why you wouldn't do it now. Whereas in the past there was a little bit of resistance from some developers and publishers. Have you not said, though, that you are looking to keep the number of titles on the service restricted to some point? So will it become more difficult to get games onto Game Pass for developers?
So Game Pass is a curated model. As of today, we're around 230, 240. That number is going up and down on Xbox. We're a bit behind on PC because we just launched in June last year. At this stage, we're not planning to have everything in Game Pass. So the idea is to have a curated catalog. But titles keep going in and out of Game Pass. On a regular basis, they get refreshed. So there are always opportunity. But yeah, it's not an uncapped.
What advice would you give to a developer if they wanted to have a game that you would take on?
Well, reach out to us. We are really trying to talk to developers as much as we can. I'm just back from South Korea last week, and I was in Japan. Like, we are really trying to reach out to the development community, reach out to us. And one important, more than how, what. So one of the things that is really great about Game Pass is that we don't need to focus on titles that have long-term monetization. Or we can actually have all sorts of genre or game length. A 2-hour game is great for Game Pass, same as a 200-hour games. A City Skyline, I know Paradox is in the room. That's a title that you're going to play for 1,000 hours. But we have titles in the catalog that you might play for 3-4 hours, and that is great. We want to offer a varied menu for people to experience new things they wouldn't know otherwise experience. So whatever kind of game you have, please reach out to us. We are not focused on title with monetization. We're not focused on, we want a bit of everything.
In terms of when you sort of communicate with your customers, whether it's on the dashboard or through email, is there any sort of personalization you use as to you've played this, why not play this, or is there anything sort of data-driven that you use to communicate better with your customers?
Okay, that's something for my Game Pass store team and marketing team, a question. But one of the things we try to do is reach out to customers where they are. So traditionally, we're a console player. So we're now really heavily in the PC space. So we are setting up channels that are dedicated to the audience. One of the reasons when we launched Ultimate, we didn't just say PC comes with Xbox, it's a bundle, because we realized that we're targeting different audiences. They might not want to pay for Xbox games, but they're only playing on PC. So that's something that we are bearing in mind, that we are talking to different audiences. Sometimes they overlap, but we need to be able to talk to them in different ways. And the Xbox Game Pass Twitter feed is one of the most hilarious things you can find on Twitter today. Just follow it. It's the lady doing it, she's a star. Just funny. Even if you don't like Game Pass, just follow her. It's great. Yeah. Oh, we have the media in the room.
Hello. So there's some exceptional first-party games on Game Pass, like Forza, Gears, Halo. Have you got any insight, first question, have you got any insight into what percentage of time people play first-party games on Game Pass versus long tail?
No.
All right. And you have a new console launching this year.
Yeah.
Have Microsoft given any indications of how Series X will get supported with the Game Pass offering?
I don't know what we said, so I'm not going to answer that.
I'll give you an easy one then. All right, so in terms of that long tail, if it's capped at around, say, 230, below 500, say, how much of an open door can you have for indies in that?
We don't have a fixed number at the moment, as in X amount is the cap. So we're learning. We're seeing customers' behavior. And if you follow what we do as a Game Pass, but also as ID program, the door is extremely open. We launch now titles on probably a couple of titles every week, and a lot of the content coming out is independent content. One of the reasons is, ID at Xbox, from the launch of the program, we made over $1.5 billion for us and the partners. We know that Xbox fans love independent games, and what better than using Game Pass to expose some of those subscribers to independent games that they might not otherwise play. So ID at Xbox has always plays a big part in any strategic initiative Xbox has. Any more questions? You done?
I have one or two.
Oh, okay.
I was just wondering, what's your sort of assessment of the marketplace for game streaming, just generally speaking? Because speaking as an observer, it looks from the outside as though Xbox Game Pass has a very compelling offering, and certainly there's been a lot of marketing cut through on that as well. So how are you feeling about your position?
Talk about streaming, cloud streaming.
Cloud streaming and other services, other subscription services like Uplay Plus or PlayStation Now, whatever it may be.
Well, we really believe in subscription service. I can't talk about the competition, but we have proven over the last couple of years how much we believed in Game Pass, how much we evolved it. So it's one of the key pillars for Xbox strategy. And in terms of cloud streaming, Phil here in London spoke a lot about it. Karim and Phil talked about it. We have the preview available in the UK, in US, and in Korea, in South Korea, for xCloud. We had over 50 titles at launch of the preview. We announced expansion in India and Japan, the next few territories. I think Phil spoke about how this is a long-term play. And it's another way for Xbox fans to experience the titles they like wherever they are. Which is one of our key pillars. Is doesn't matter where you are, you want to play the games you want to play with the people you want to play with. Does that answer?
Yeah, cool. I also want to ask a little bit more. That statistic that you open your presentation with, like Xbox Game Pass players play 40% more games.
Yeah,
that's pretty extraordinary. I mean, I just want to probe a little bit deeper about that, like. Over what period of time, and what sort of measurement are you?
I think they're looking in a short period of time from the beginning of their subscription. And what's exciting for us is that they're not just playing Game Pass titles, but effectively they become more engaged with the platform, and they go out and play titles that are outside the platform. So that's what is exciting. And we have more data we're not sharing today that shows how we're having a positive impact to the ecosystem in general. Today we're not just competing with other consoles, we're not just competing with PC, we are competing for people's time, and the more people spend time playing games, the better it is for us, but the better it is for our publishing partners.
But I mean, that's amazing, because like you already said that, it's the most engaged players who are subscribing to Game Pass in the first place, and yet there are new depths to their engagement.
Yeah. And what was exciting is that the other stat was that maybe smaller font, 91% of the people have played games they would not have played otherwise. That is something to really think about. Like the fact that there are a lot of people out there they would never have played those games if it wasn't for the subscription. And they would never have developed, like in Curve's case, Human Fall Flat, 40% of the people never played a puzzle game on our platform. Hopefully, out of those 40%, we created fans of puzzle games that we go and benefit not just Curve and not just the Game Pass program, but other developers and publishers that bring in their puzzle games to the platforms.
Fascinating.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Cheers.